Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Los Angeles Public Library's Facebook and YouTube live feed. I'm Katie. I'm a librarian here at LAPL, and I'm here to introduce today's wonderful program for kids and families celebrating Coretta Scott King Book Award winners from the past. So first, a little bit about the Coretta Scott King Book Awards, if you're not familiar. The Coretta Scott King Book Awards are given annually to outstanding African American authors and illustrators of books for children and young adults that demonstrate an appreciation of African American culture and universal human values. The award commemorates the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and honors his wife, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, for her courage and determination to continue the work for peace and world brotherhood. So there are 3 awards given every year. So one is for authors, one is for illustrators, and one is for new talent. Today, we are going to be joined by Miss Alexandra from the California African American Museum. They have a very special exhibit at the museum called Men of Change, and we'll get a little peek of that exhibit and learn a little bit about what that is. And then our librarian, Miss Caitlin, will show us a book about a man of change, Mr. Trombone Shorty. So let's welcome Miss Alexandra. Yay, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Hi, thank you so much. Thank you to Miss Katie and Miss Caitlin for all their hard work on today. I'm so happy to be partnering with the Los Angeles Public Library. I have a special place in my heart for libraries. I hope you all do as well. The California African American Museum is an exposition park. Some of you have probably been to the Science Center before, which is right next door, or the Natural History Museum, which is also in the park. But our mission at CAAM is to research, collect, preserve, interpret for public enrichment in history, art, culture, and culture of African Americans, with an emphasis on California and the Western United States. So we celebrate Black life and culture here in the West. We hope that when we are reopened, you'll be able to join us. But if you're out for walks with your family, it's a nice place to walk. The park is nice, right by the Rose Garden. But today we are here to have a special reading of Trombone Shorty in conjunction with our exhibition that Ms. Katie just mentioned, Men of Change, Power, Triumph, and Truth. This exhibition profiles revolutionary men, including Muhammad Ali, James Baldwin, Ta-Nehisi Coates, W.B. Du Bois, and Kendrick Lamar, who is a Los Angeles resident and born and raised here in Los Angeles. All of these men have really incredible journeys that have altered history and culture here in the United States and also abroad. But the show mainly focuses on their contributions here. Their achievements are woven within the legacy and traditions of the African American experience and have become pillars of excellence for us to focus on. And so all these men are from different fields, but today we're going to be focused on a musician. And we all like music. We like listening to music and song. I hope maybe some of you are taking music lessons. And so today's will be specifically about Trombone Shorty, and Miss Katie is actually going to play a video that gives us a little bit of an overview about the exhibition. But I invite you to also check out our website for other information about the exhibition and the other exciting things that are online. While you can't come into the museum and see it in person, you can experience it from your home in different ways. So we hope you'll check out our website. Of course, thank you to the Ford Motor Company for their support, as well as the Smithsonian Sites Travel Organization for the exhibition. And thank you to my colleagues. So thank you again to Ms. Katie and Ms. Caitlin. And with that, I'll turn it back over so we all can watch the video on the exhibition together.
There are revolutionary men whose journeys have altered the history and culture of this country. They've made their marks in a variety of disciplines: politics, sports, science, entertainment, business, religion, and more. Their achievements are woven within the legacy and traditions of their communities and the African American experience, and they become emblems of excellence in spite of society's barriers. CAAM's new exhibition, Men of Change, Power, Triumph, Truth, developed by the Smithsonian, profiles 27 such men, including Muhammad Ali, James Baldwin, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Bayard Rustin, and Kendrick Lamar. Additionally, 25 contemporary artists were invited to reflect upon the significance of these men through their own creative visions. Through these original works of art, plus inspiring quotes and dramatic photographs, The exhibition brings together the historical and the contemporary to illuminate the importance of these men of change, but extends beyond these groundbreaking individuals to celebrate the many men whose names are known and unknown, who uplift their communities and inspire us to greatness. So while we are currently closed to the public due to COVID-19, that won't stop us from sharing their stories with you. Please visit our website for more information on Men of Change, including photographs of the exhibition and works on display, related online programs, and more.
Thank you so much to Alexandra for giving us a little sneak peek into the exhibition. My name is Caitlin, and I am a librarian at the Los Angeles Public Library. I'm so pleased to share a book with you today. This is Trombone Shorty by Trombone Shorty Andrews. It's actually an autobiography. As Katie mentioned earlier, the annual Coretta Scott King Awards, there is one for author and another for illustrator, recognizing the year's most distinguished portrayal of African American experience in literature for children and teens. Brian Collier also won a Caldecott Award for this book, which goes to the artist of the most distinguished American picture book for children. So a beautiful book. I'm so excited to share with you. I will be reading some of the pages from this book, as well as some from the author's notes that Troy Andrews provides in the back of the book. So let's get started. He says, I like to say that the city of New Orleans raised me. In Chimay, music was everywhere, from church to the street to my very own house. My grandfather, Jesse Hill, was a musician, and my brother, James, was a musician as well. I wanted to be just like them. There were people always coming and going from my house, but music was the thing we had in common. No matter how tough things got, listening to music always made me feel better. Next slide, please. When I was very young, my neighborhood friends and I would pretend that we were like the brass bands that would parade down our streets. And because we couldn't afford instruments, we really did make them out of whatever we could find. The box from a 12-pack of soda could be fastened around the neck with Mardi Gras beads to become a drum, and pencils became drumsticks. I used to hoist an old big wheel bicycle over my shoulders and pretend it was a tuba. Empty bottles became horns and wind instruments. Thankfully, I got my first trombone when I was 4 years old, and by age 6, I was leading my own band. Wow, age 6. Next slide, please. I played around town with my friends for many years, and together we tried to soak in everything we could about the incredible musical traditions of New Orleans. I felt lucky that the previous generations of New Orleans musicians wanted to share their craft with me. It was my job to carry on this musical heritage. I attended the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts and started to develop my own musical style. Let's take a look at the next slide. These are such beautiful illustrations. We're going to talk more about Brian Collier and how he made these amazing illustrations using collage once we're finished reading. Here he is on stage with no other than Bo Diddley. I attended the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts and started to develop my own musical style, one that paid tribute to New Orleans' own jazz, blues, and gospel, but also mixed in other kinds of music that I loved. like rock and roll, funk, and hip hop. I called it super funk rock. My music caught the eye of Lenny Kravitz, and at age 19, I joined the horn section of his band. This led to performing with other incredible musicians over the years, such as U2, Green Day, Eric Clapton, B.B. King, Prince, and many more. Next slide, please. I'm going to skip to the beginning where the story all begins. I love this illustration. I'm going to show you. This is how it all starts. Where you at? He says. Where you at? Where you at? We have our own way of living down here in New Orleans and our own way of talking too. And that's what we like to say when we want to tell a friend hello. Where you at? Lots of kids have nicknames, but I want to tell you the story of how I got mine. Just like when you listen to your favorite song, let's start from the beginning, because this is a story about music. And do we have one more illustration? Beautiful. As important as it is for me to carry the torch for the music of New Orleans, it's even more important for me to make sure that this tradition continues. In 2010, I launched the Trombone Shorty Foundation and Trombone Shorty Music Academy to make sure that the music and culture of New Orleans stay alive. While I have been fortunate enough to travel the world and share my music, I always return home to New Orleans. Nothing has been more inspiring to me than working with the children there. I wanted to write this book to try to inspire hope in kids who might be growing up under difficult circumstances, but who have a dream, just like I did. I'm living proof that as long as you work hard, you can make your dreams take flight. And on the next slide, I think there are a couple of photographs. Yes. These are the photographs from the author's notes from which I've been reading. And you can just see how tiny he was as a young man with that huge, I can't imagine how heavy that might have been, trombone that he has hoisted over his shoulder, that he just impressed his family and friends and neighbors as he joined the marching band and parades down the streets of New Orleans in his neighborhood of Treme. And that's actually a picture of Bo Diddley looking at him in awe, I imagine. In fact, at one of Bo Diddley's concerts, Trombone Shorty was there in the audience playing his trombone, and Bo Diddley said, "Who is that?" And Troy's mom hoisted him up and said, "This is my son, Trombone Shorty." And the audience passed him as a young boy up to the stage, and he got to play with Bo Diddley at that tender age. I love that story. And I actually learned that from the book, which I highly recommend. Let's talk about the illustrations too in this book. By the talented Brian Collier, who works with collage and then paints over collage. And so are there any audience members out there who have ever worked with collage? It's I was going to ask you if you knew how he made them, but I went ahead and told you. He used a lot of magazines to clip different shapes, and then he would paint over the shapes. And for those of you who would like to, I thought it would be fun to try to create our own collage art, similar to what Brian Collier did. And don't forget that the book that he created the art for is actually an autobiography. So I really encourage you to make your collage is very personal, things that that feel true to your life or that inspire your heart as you're looking through, let's say, magazines. I also like to suggest you just use some scrap paper from the house. Maybe you'll have, ooh, I do. I have a lot of wrapping paper. So that's always a good thing to use for a collage too. Anything bright, something shiny. If you have recycled materials that you wanted to use at home, you can make it three-dimensional. I have a bag that I'm going to use to make mine. So you'll need a pair of scissors, and you'll need some tape or some glue. And I hope you'll make a beautiful autobiographical collage today, inspired again by Brian Collier and the beautiful story of Trombone Shorty, which you can check out in the library, along with so many other Coretta Scott King Award books. We actually have another slide to show you that has the link to two different lists that we have, one for the author awards and one for the illustrator awards. So you can find those on the Kids Path page of lapl.org. So many inspiring reads for kids and teens there. And again, thank you so much, Alexandra, for joining us. And I hope you all enjoyed today and the book. And please visit us for so many more books celebrating Coretta Scott King.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Caitlin, for the wonderful presentation on Trombone Shorty. We had some nice viewer comment about how beautiful the artwork was and a little bit about Trombone Shorty. Yes, he must really love the trombone, that's for sure, to start so young. Can you explain a little bit about what an autobiography is for the kids who may not be familiar with that?
Good question. Thank you for asking that. So a biography, which you may have heard, and an autobiography are different, but a biography is when is a book about a person. So it's a nonfiction book about somebody's life. And an autobiography is when the person whose life it's about actually writes the book themselves. Troy Andrews, whose nickname is Trombone Shorty, actually wrote the words for this book. So hence it makes the book an autobiography. He wrote the book about him and his life and his experiences.
And we have a question. So it's a great book. I hope everyone checks it out. Andy is wondering if there is a sequel.
That is such a good question, Andy. There is a sequel of sorts called The 5 O'Clock Band. And the 5 O'Clock Band, why is it called the 5 O'Clock Band? Because Trombone Shorty, as a young boy, created a band with some of his friends. They had to go to school and do their homework. So at 5 o'clock, when they were able to go out onto the streets and play and have some fun, it was 5 o'clock. So they called themselves the 5 O'Clock Band. And that's another wonderful book about music in Treme in New Orleans, and Trombone Shorty is part in all of it.
Wonderful. I just want to highlight one or two more comments.
Yes,
Favorite
please.
books to read at night for bedtime.
Oh, I love that.
Lovely. And thank you for sharing the beautiful book. It's wonderful. And, Trombone Shorty is just one of many wonderful books about music. And one of the many wonderful biographies, autobiographies of important Black figures in our culture that have been highlighted by the Coretta Scott King Awards over the years. So I highly recommend all of you watching to, again, visit our award lists on our website that have been linked in the comments so that you can check out these and many other amazing Coretta Scott King Award winners, and then just dive in to all of those wonderful books. So if there's no other questions or comments, we will wrap it up. But thank you, Miss Caitlin. Thank you, Miss Alexandra. And thank you to the California African American Museum for joining us today. I hope you'll check out their website and our book lists and just have a ball. So have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you so much for having us.